The thermometer had stopped working at negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, 3 hours into the worst blizzard in a decade, it didn't matter anymore. The cold had teeth. It bit through Arya Winter's threadbare coat, through her skin, straight into her bones. Her hands were past feeling. The makeshift rope she'd tied around her waist cut into her ribs with every step. Behind her, leaving a dark trail in the fresh snow, was the 11th wolf, the biggest one. The black one with eyes like... "Come on," she gasped, her voice barely audible over the shrieking wind. "Just a little further, please. I didn't drag 10 of you just to lose you now." The wolf didn't move, couldn't move. His massive body lay still on the tarp she'd been using as a sled, steam rising from the gash along his flank. Blood, dark and hot, melted the snow beneath him. Arya fell to her knees. Her vision swam. 4 hours. She'd been doing this for 4 hours. 11 trips from the tree line to her cabin. 11 wolves, each one heavier than the last. Her muscles screamed. Her lungs burned. Every breath felt like swallowing glass. "I won't let you die." The words came out as a sob. "I won't." She didn't know why she cared. These weren't pack. They weren't hers. For all she knew, they were rogues, dangerous. The kind of wolves that got Omegas like her killed. But they were dying. And Arya Winters, the girl everyone said was worthless, the Omega who couldn't shift the waste of space, who'd been thrown away like garbage 3 months ago, she couldn't walk away from that. So she dug her boots into the ice, grabbed the rope, and pulled. 1 inch, 2. The cabin door was 15 feet away. It might as well have been 15 miles. "Please," she whispered to the wolf, to the storm, to whatever god might be listening. "Please help me save him." The black wolf's eye cracked open. Just one. Golden. Burning. Watching her. Then it closed. Arya screamed, a raw, desperate sound that the wind tore away. She pulled. Fell. Got up. Pulled again. Inch by inch. Foot by foot. Until finally, the tarp scraped over her threshold. She collapsed. Inside her tiny cabin, 11 giant wolves lay scattered across the floor like fallen soldiers. The air smelled of wet fur, blood, and something acrid. Chemical. Poison. The Omega, who everyone said had no strength, had just dragged half a ton of dying wolf through a blizzard. She had no idea she'd just saved a king. 3 months earlier. October 2020. The ceremony wasn't long. Banishments never were. Arya stood in the center of the Frost Hollow pack grounds, snow already falling, even though it was barely autumn. The entire pack circled her. 200 wolves, 200 pairs of eyes, and not one looked at her with kindness. Alpha Garrett Stone stood on the raised platform, his silver hair pulled back, his face carved from granite. At 45, he was in his prime. Strong, ruthless, everything an alpha should be. Arya Winters, his voice carried over the crowd without effort. "You have lived among us for 22 years. 22 years, and your wolf has never come." Arya kept her eyes down. Omega instinct. Never look an alpha in the eye, never challenge, never speak unless spoken to. By pack law, Garrett continued, any wolf who fails to shift by their 18th birthday is tested. You were tested 4 years ago. You failed. She remembered. The pack elder had made her drink a tea that tasted like dirt and death. It was supposed to force the shift. It had made her vomit for 3 days instead. "We gave you 4 more years. 4 years to prove your worth despite your deficiency." Deficiency. That's what they called it. Being wolfless? "You have failed." Someone in the crowd spat. Arya didn't flinch. She'd learned not to. "A wolfless Omega is dead weight. You cannot hunt, cannot fight, cannot even defend yourself. You contribute nothing to this pack's strength." His words were rehearsed. Bored almost, like he'd done this before. Maybe he had. "By my authority as Alpha, I declare you cast out. You are no longer pack. You are rogue. If you are found within Frost Hollow territory after sunset tonight, you will be hunted." Arya's throat closed. Hunted. Not arrested, not escorted away. Hunted. "Do you have anything to say?" She should beg, plead, promise to do better work, harder, be useful somehow. Instead, she lifted her head, met Garrett's eyes for the first and last time. "I hope," she said quietly, "that when you need mercy, someone gives it to you. Because I would have." Something flickered in the Alpha's face, surprise and anger, then it was gone. "Sunset," he repeated. "Get out." The crowd parted. A corridor of judgment leading to the forest edge. To nothing. Arya walked it with her head high. Behind her, Garrett watched her go with an expression that wasn't quite contempt. It was closer to guilt. But guilt didn't keep Omegas alive in the winter. The cabin had been abandoned for years when Arya found it. One room, a wood stove that barely worked, gaps in the walls where the wind whistled through. The roof leaked. The door didn't lock. The previous owner had left behind some canned goods, a rotting mattress, and a single chair with 3 legs. It was the most beautiful thing Arya had ever seen, because it was hers. No pack rules, no hierarchy, no one to call her useless, broken, wrong. Just silence, and cold, and the endless work of staying alive. She learned to set snares for rabbits, failed more than she succeeded. Learned to stretch a can of beans across 3 days. Learned that the pain of hunger was constant but manageable. Learned to burn anything that would fit in the stove. Learned that loneliness was worse than cold. Learned to talk to herself so she wouldn't forget what her voice sounded like. Day 47, she'd say to the cabin walls. Still alive. Still haven't frozen to death. Personally, I'm calling that a win. Day 63. Saw a deer today. Just looked at each other. I think we have an understanding. She doesn't judge me for being wolfless. I don't try to eat her. Day 89. The snow is early this year. If the big storm they're predicting hits, I'll need to stock up. Maybe the town will have canned soup on sale. Day 92. The blizzard came. Arya had been gathering firewood when she smelled it. Blood. Fresh. Hot. Cut through the cold and pine like a knife. Every instinct she had left screamed at her to go inside, lock the door, pretend she hadn't noticed. Instead, she dropped the wood and ran toward it. The first wolf was 50 yards into the trees, gray massive lying on his side, breathing but barely. His fur was matted with ice and blood. A wound on his shoulder leaked something dark. Hey, Arya fell to her knees beside him. Can you hear me? No response. His eyes were closed, frost already coating his whiskers. She looked up and her breath caught. They were everywhere, scattered across the clearing like fallen dominoes. 11 wolves total, different sizes, different colors, but all of them dying, all of them poisoned with the same thing. She could smell it. Wolfsbane. The chemical stench made her eyes water. Wolfsbane prevented shifting, drained body heat. In weather like this, it was a death sentence. No, Arya whispered. No, no, no. She should leave. She should run. These could be anyone. Criminals, rogues, they could wake up and kill her, but they weren't going to wake up. Not unless she did something. Okay. She stood up, scanning the clearing. Okay, think, Arya. 11 wolves. She weighed maybe 110 pounds soaking wet. She couldn't carry one of them, let alone 11, but she could drag them. She ran back to the cabin, grabbed the tarp she used to cover the leaking roof, grabbed every bit of rope she had, tied them together in a harness. This is insane, she told herself as she ran back out. This is absolutely insane. They could be anyone. They could be dangerous. But she was already rolling the first wolf onto the tarp. He was heavier than she expected. Dead weight, she managed to get him positioned, wrapped the rope around her waist and started pulling. It took everything she had. The snow was 3 feet deep in places. The tarp kept catching on roots, rocks. Her boots slipped. She fell twice before she made it 20 feet. Come on, gritted teeth, burning lungs. Come on, Arya, you can do this. She couldn't, but she did it anyway. Trip 1, the gray wolf. She left him by the cabin door and went back. Trip 2, a brown wolf, smaller, younger maybe. Her back screamed in protest. Trip 3, a russet female. Arya was crying now, from pain, from cold, from the sheer impossibility of what she was trying to do. You're doing great, Mr. Number 3, she gasped to the unconscious wolf. Just cooperate and we'll all get through this. Trip 4, Trip 5, Trip 6. By Trip 7, her hands were bleeding inside her gloves. The skin had rubbed raw. Every muscle in her body was on fire. Almost there, she told wolf number 7. He had scars across his muzzle. You look like you've been through worse. Don't give up on me now. Trip 8, Trip 9, Trip 10, the black wolf was last. He was enormous, easily twice the size of the others. His fur was so dark it seemed to absorb light. Even unconscious, even dying, he radiated something that made Arya's Omega instincts scream. Power, ancient, terrible. She should leave him. She'd saved 10. That was enough. That was a miracle, but there was a gash along his flank that steamed in the freezing air. And when she leaned close, she could hear his heart. Slow, fading. I don't know who you are, Arya whispered, but I'm not leaving you to die alone. She rolled him onto the tarp. He was so heavy, the rope cut into her ribs with the first pull. She slipped, fell face first into the snow. Got up, pulled again. 1 inch. That's all she got. 1 inch. Please breathe. She was begging now, begging him, begging the universe. Please don't make this be for nothing. The wolf's eye opened, just one, golden burning fixing on her face. Arya froze. She'd heard stories about wolves who could kill with a look, about alphas so powerful their gaze alone could force a shift, could break a mind. This wolf looked at her like he could see every secret she'd ever kept. Then impossibly his eye closed again, like he was giving permission. Arya grabbed the rope and pulled with everything she had left. Her vision grayed at the edges. Her legs shook. Something in her shoulder gave a wet pop that promised she'd regret this for weeks. But inch by inch she dragged him. When she finally got him over the threshold, she kicked the door shut and collapsed. The cabin was wall-to-wall wolves. There was maybe 2 square feet of empty floor space. The smell was overwhelming. Arya didn't care. She'd done it. She crawled to the wood stove on her hands and knees, shoved in every log she had left. The cast iron glowed orange within minutes. Then she got to work. She'd put snow on to boil before the rescue. Now she had lukewarm water. Not great, but better than nothing. She tore one of her shirts into rags. Okay, she addressed the unconscious wolves. Okay, I saved you. Now let's see if I can actually keep you alive. She started with the black wolf, because even though he was the scariest, he was also the most hurt. Up close, he was terrifying. His paws were the size of dinner plates. The claws alone could disembowel a man, but the gash on his flank was deep, angry, infected at the edges. Arya dipped her rag in warm water and began to clean it. This is going to sting, she warned, even though he couldn't hear her. The wolfsbane needs to come out or you'll never heal. So if you wake up and want to eat me, just remember I'm trying to help. She worked carefully. The wound wept dark blood and something greenish. Infection, poison, both. As she cleaned, she talked. She always talked when she was nervous. I don't know what happened to you. Some kind of ambush, maybe hunters? There have been rumors about hunters using wolfsbane rounds. Military-grade stuff? Absolutely illegal, but when has that ever stopped anyone? Wipe, rinse, repeat. You're lucky I found you. Well, maybe not lucky. I'm not exactly a nurse. I'm not exactly anything according to my old pack. Just an omega who can't shift. The black wolf's leg twitched. Arya froze, rag hovering. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then his eye opened again. Not the hazy confusion of semi-consciousness. This was sharp, aware, lethal. Every omega instinct Arya had screamed at her to bare her neck. Submit, grovel. Instead, she met his gaze. I'm helping you, she said quietly. Her voice shook, but she didn't look away. You have wolfsbane in your system. I'm cleaning it out. You can either let me finish or you can bite my head off, but if you bite my head off, you'll probably die. So, your choice. The golden eyes stared at her. Then he sniffed. A long, deliberate inhale that she felt against her skin. Fear, exhaustion, blood. And underneath it all, lavender. The scent she'd worn since she was a child because her mother used to wear it. The wolf's eye closed, permission granted. Arya let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Right, good talk. She finished cleaning his wound, moved to the next wolf, and the next. By the time she'd treated all 11, the sky outside was starting to lighten. Dawn. The blizzard had finally started to ease. Arya had been working for 8 hours straight. Her hands were ruined. Blisters on top of blisters, some bleeding. Her back felt like someone had driven nails into her spine. She was so tired she could barely see straight. But all 11 wolves were breathing steadier now. The worst of the poison was out. The cabin was warm. She'd done it. Arya looked around at the sea of fur and muscle taking up every inch of her floor. Well, she said to no one, this is cozy. Then she laughed, a slightly hysterical sound that turned into a sob halfway through. She'd saved them. She'd actually saved them. The only empty space left was right against the black wolf's back. He was radiating heat now, a furnace against the cold draft from the floorboards. Arya was too exhausted to care about propriety. She curled up against him, stealing his warmth. Let her eyes close. If you eat me in my sleep, she mumbled, at least make it quick. The black wolf's breathing was steady, deep, his heart a slow drum against her spine. Arya fell asleep feeling safer than she had in 3 months. She didn't know the black wolf was awake. She didn't know he'd been awake for the last hour. She didn't know his name was Darius Blackwood. And she definitely didn't know he was the Alpha King of the continent. Darius hadn't moved. Every instinct screamed at him to shift, to assess, to take command, but moving meant waking the girl, and he needed to think. The last thing he remembered was the ambush. Northern Alliance. They'd been tracking them for weeks, waiting for the perfect moment. A blizzard in neutral territory. Military-grade wolfsbane rounds. It had been a perfect trap. His vanguard, the 11 most elite warriors on the continent, reduced to dying animals in the snow. They should all be dead. Instead, he was in a cabin that smelled like mildew and canned beans, with a girl sleeping against his spine. An Omega. He could tell by her scent, sweet, delicate, with that underlying note of lavender. But there was something else. The sour tang of long-term stress. Malnutrition. Fear so old it had soaked into her bones. Darius cracked his eye open again. The cabin was tiny, one room, gaps in the walls, a wood stove that looked like it might collapse if someone sneezed on it. This Omega was barely surviving herself, and she'd saved them. He could see the evidence, the bloody rags, the empty pot that had held broth, the way his men had been arranged closest to the heat while she slept on the drafty floor. She'd dragged them, all of them, through a blizzard. This tiny, malnourished thing had done what should have been impossible. Mate. The word whispered through his mind like smoke. No, Darius rejected it immediately. He didn't have time for a mate. Didn't have room in his life for the vulnerability, the distraction, the weakness that came with a mate bond. He was a king. He had enemies. A mate would be a target. But his wolf disagreed. For the first time in 200 years, his wolf was content. Actually purring, because she was touching them, because her scent was in their fur, because she'd fought to save them when she had no reason to. Darius needed to shift, needed to wake his men, needed to get back to the capital before the Northern Alliance realized their ambush had failed. But first he needed to understand what he was dealing with. He listened to her breathe, soft, steady, exhausted. She'd called herself useless, said her pack threw her away. Idiots. This Omega had more courage in her little finger than most alphas had in their entire body. Outside, an engine cut through the morning quiet. Darius's eyes snapped open. Vehicle, multiple wolves, pack sent. Her pack. The Omega stirred, gasping. She scrambled up, ran to the window, wiped away the frost. No, the word was barely a whisper. No, no, no. She turned back to the wolves, eyes wide with panic. You have to be quiet. Please, just stay down. She grabbed a coat too big for her, threw it on, stepped out onto the porch. The door closed. Darius didn't hesitate. He dragged himself across the floor, every movement agony. The wolfsbane was still in his system, making his limbs feel like lead, but he pressed his ear to the crack under the door. Well, well, a male voice, young, cruel. Look what we have here. What do you want, Kieran? The Omega's voice shook. Alpha Garrett sent us on patrol, tracked a blood trail right to your doorstep runt. I caught a deer. I dragged it back. Laughter. A deer in this storm. You couldn't catch a cold, you useless waste of space. Open the door, Arya. Let us see. No, this is neutral territory. You banished me. You have no right to enter my home. I have the right to do whatever I want to a masterless Omega. The sound of a boot hitting wood, something toppling. Inside the cabin, Darius's men were waking. Rowan, his gamma, a gray wolf with silver streaks, lifted his head. His eyes locked on Darius. Darius gave a subtle nod toward the door. Prepare. Let go of me. The Omega's scream cut through the air. Maybe I'll take my payment in trade. Since you don't have any money. That was enough. Darius didn't care about the pain, didn't care about the poison still burning through his veins. He let out a roar that shook the floorboards and threw his body against the door. The latch was old, rusted, it shattered like glass. The door exploded outward. Kieran, a mid-level enforcer from a pack Darius could wipe off the map with a thought, had the Omega pinned against the exterior wall. His hand was around her throat. He looked up. His eyes went wide with pure animal terror. Because standing in the doorway wasn't just a wolf, it was a monster. The black wolf stood nearly at chest height, even on all fours. Muscles rippled under midnight fur. Golden eyes burned with ancient fury. And behind him, 10 more wolves were rising. Warriors, the vanguard. Even wounded, even poisoned, they radiated lethal intent. Kieran's hand dropped from Arya's throat. She fell into the snow. Darius stepped onto the porch. The wood creaked under his weight. He bared his fangs. Saliva dripped from jaws that could crush bone. He wasn't just protecting his savior. He was protecting his mate. And the enforcer was about to learn exactly why Darius Blackwood made alphas wet themselves. Darius didn't lunge. He moved with the precision of an executioner. In one blur of shadow and muscle, he closed the distance. His jaws clamped around Kieran's forearm, the one that had been on Arya's throat. The bone shattered with a wet crunch that echoed louder than the wind. Kieran's scream was high, broken. He dropped to his knees, clutching his mangled arm. The two wolves with him shifted. Russet-colored average warriors. They tried to flank. Bad idea. From the cabin, the vanguard poured out. Injured, recovering from poison. Still lethal. Rowan the Gamma slammed into one attacker. Knocked him clean off the porch into a snowdrift 6 feet below. The other turned to run. Didn't make it 3 steps. Darius ignored the runners. His focus was entirely on Kieran. He stalked forward. A low rumble built in his chest. It sounded like rocks grinding together. Like the earth itself was angry. "What are you?" Kieran shrieked, scrambling backward across the ice. "You're just a rogue. You're just—" Darius snapped forward, pinned Kieran to the floorboards with one massive paw on his chest. He lowered his head until his fangs were inches from the enforcer's throat. This close, Kieran could see every scar, every kill. 200 years of war written in golden eyes that promised death. "Don't kill him." The voice was barely a whisper, carried away by wind. But Darius heard it. He froze. Arya was sitting in the snow where she'd fallen, shivering violently. Her eyes were fixed on Darius, white and afraid. She wasn't looking at him with gratitude. She was looking at him with the same fear she'd looked at Kieran. That hurt more than the wolfsbane ever could. Darius held Kieran's gaze for one more second, a silent promise, "Come back and I'll finish this." Then he stepped back. Behind him, bones cracked. Wet tearing sounds. Flesh reshaped itself. The black wolf became a man. He stood 6'5", naked, steam rising from broad shoulders into the freezing air. His body was a map of scars and hard muscle. His hair was as black as his wolf's fur, wet with melted snow. And his eyes were still golden, still burning. Kieran stared up at him. Recognition slowly dawned across his face. The color drained until he was white as the snow. The king." Darius's voice was deep, authoritative. "Run." It wasn't a suggestion. "Tell Garrett that if his wolves step 1 foot near this cabin again, I will burn his territory to the ash it deserves to be." Kieran didn't need to be told twice. He scrambled up, shifted clumsily into a limping wolf, and fled into the tree line. His companions followed. Silence fell over the clearing. Darius turned slowly. Arya was staring at him, at his scars, his nakedness, the raw power radiating from his skin. "I didn't know," she stammered, looking at the ground. "I didn't know you were people. I thought you were just hurt wolves. I'm sorry. I don't have a permit to house shifters. Please don't hurt me." Every word was a knife in Darius's chest. She thought he would hurt her, after she'd saved his life. "Arya," he said softly. He knelt in the snow, ignoring the cold, trying to make himself smaller, less threatening. "Look at me." She shook her head. Tears froze on her cheeks. "Omegas aren't allowed to look alphas in the eye. It's the law in Frost Hollow." "The laws of Frost Hollow," Darius said, his voice rough with emotion, "do not apply to me. And they certainly do not apply to you anymore." He reached out. His hand hovered near her cheek, not touching, asking permission. "You saved us. You saved me. I would sooner rip out my own heart than hurt you." Slowly, so slowly, Arya looked up. The golden eyes of the man were the same as the wolf's. They weren't angry. They were worshipping. "Here, Your Majesty." Rowan's voice came from the porch. The Gamma had shifted too, tall blonde wrapped in the oversized coat Arya had worn. He tossed a blanket down. Darius wrapped it around his waist. Then, without asking, he scooped Arya up into his arms. "Put me down," she gasped. Her hands pushed weakly against his chest. It was like pushing granite. "You're hurt. Your flank." "I'm healing," Darius grunted, walking back toward the cabin. "And you are freezing. We're going inside." As he carried her over the threshold, Arya looked at the other wolves. They were all shifting now. 10 warriors groaning as they stretched limbs that had been wolfed too long. All of them naked. "Oh God." Arya covered her eyes. "I don't have enough clothes for this." Darius let out a short, dry laugh, a sound he hadn't made in years. "Don't worry about clothes, little one. We have bigger problems to solve." He set her down gently on her 3-legged chair, wrapped a blanket around her shoulders, looked at her ruined hands, the blisters, the blood. Something dark and violent rose in his chest. "Who was he?" Darius asked quietly. "The one who grabbed you." "Kieran, one of Garrett's enforcers." "And Garrett is your alpha?" "Was. He banished me 3 months ago." "Why?" Arya looked at her hands. "I can't shift. I'm 22 and I've never had a wolf. In Frost Hollow, that makes me dead weight." The word hung in the air. Darius crouched in front of her, tilted her chin up with one finger. Listen to me very carefully, he said. You have more wolf in you than that entire pack combined. Shifting doesn't make you valuable. This does. He placed his hand over her heart. Courage, compassion, strength of spirit. That's what makes a wolf, not fur and fangs. Arya's eyes filled with tears. You don't understand. Now that Kieran knows you're here, he'll tell Garrett. Garrett hates rogues. He'll come back with the whole pack. She looked at Darius with wide, fearful eyes. You have to leave before they come back. Darius smiled. It was a dark, terrifying smile. Let him come. The helicopter arrived 40 minutes later. Arya had never seen one up close. The noise was deafening. The wind from the rotors turned the snow into a white tornado. She pressed herself against the cabin wall, watching as 3 more men in tactical gear descended on ropes. Your Majesty, the lead man dropped to one knee in front of Darius, who was now wearing a pair of pants someone had produced from somewhere. The extraction team is ready. We have medical standing by. Good, Darius turned to Arya. Pack your things. She blinked. What? Everything that matters to you? Clothes, personal items. We leave in 5 minutes. I'm not going anywhere. Yes, Darius said calmly, you are. You can't just kidnap me. I'm not kidnapping you. I'm taking you somewhere safe. There's a difference. Arya stood up. Her legs shook, but she held her ground. This is my home. This, Darius gestured to the cabin with gaps in the walls, is a death trap. Garrett will come. When he does, I won't be here to stop him. So you have 2 choices. Come with me now or I station 50 guards around your cabin for the rest of your life. You wouldn't. Darius raised an eyebrow. Arya realized he absolutely would. I don't have anything worth packing, she said finally. This is it. This is everything I own. Something passed across Darius's face. Anger, maybe, or grief. Then we leave now. Rowan appeared with another coat, thick, expensive. He draped it over Arya's shoulders. It's going to be loud, the Gamma said gently. He had kind eyes, laugh lines around them. Just keep your head down and hold on tight. We'll be in Nightfall before you know it. Nightfall, well, the capital, Nightfall Citadel, where the king lives. Arya's stomach dropped. I can't go to the capital. I'm a rogue. Rogues aren't allowed in the Citadel. You're not a rogue, Darius said. He stepped close. Too close. She could feel the heat radiating off him. You're under my personal protection. Anyone who wants to touch you will have to go through me first. He held out his hand. Arya looked at it, looked at the helicopter. The warriors loading up. The life she'd built in 3 months of survival. Then she looked at the cabin, the leaking roof, the cold, the loneliness. She took his hand, his fingers closed around hers, warm, steady. I've got you, Darius murmured. I promise. The flight was a blur of noise and sensation. Arya had never been off the ground before. Her stomach lurched as the helicopter lifted. She grabbed the nearest thing, which happened to be Darius's arm. He didn't pull away. Instead, he shifted slightly, letting her lean against him, wrapped one arm around her shoulders. First time flying, Rowan shouted over the rotors. He was sitting across from them, grinning. Arya nodded, too terrified to speak. It gets easier. Just don't look down. She immediately looked down. Big mistake. The ground was falling away beneath them. The cabin became a speck. The forest a sea of white. The world became vast and terrifying and beautiful. Breathe, Darius said against her ear. You're safe. I won't let you fall. Arya focused on breathing. In, out, in, out. Across from her, one of the warriors pulled out a thermos. Coffee? It's terrible, but it's hot. Felix, Rowan warned. His Majesty's guest doesn't need your motor oil. It's not that bad. Felix looked offended. He was younger than the others. Maybe 30. Sandy hair. A scar across his jaw. I make good coffee. You make sludge. It's got character. Despite herself, Arya smiled. These were supposed to be elite warriors, the king's personal guard, and they were arguing about coffee like normal people. Felix caught her smile and winked. See, she appreciates quality. Like some people. He pulled out a photo from his pocket. This is why I drink coffee. 3-year-old daughter. Doesn't sleep. Ever. He passed the photo to Arya, a little girl with Felix's sandy hair and a gap-toothed smile. She's beautiful, Arya said. She's a menace. I love her more than life itself. Something twisted in Arya's chest, longing. She'd never had family like that. Never had someone look at her the way Felix looked at that photo. Where is she? Arya asked. Your daughter. Felix's smile dimmed slightly. Safe. That's all that matters. There was a story there. Arya could hear it in his voice. But before she could ask, the helicopter banked hard. Through the window, the world had changed. They were over a city now, not the small town near her cabin. A real city. Buildings like glass mountains. Lights everywhere despite the daylight. Streets filled with cars and people. Welcome to Valdres, Rowan said, capital of the continent. Home to 2 million wolves and humans. And that, he pointed, rising from the center of the city built into the side of a dormant volcano, was a fortress of black stone and glass. It looked ancient and modern at once. Towers reached toward the sky, walls that could withstand a siege, windows that caught the light and threw it back like fire. Is Nightfall Citadel? Arya's mouth went dry. I can't go in there. Too late, Darius's voice held a hint of amusement. We're landing. The helicopter touched down on a private pad on the Citadel's roof. The moment the doors opened, chaos descended. People in white coats, guards in tactical gear, servants in crisp uniforms, all of them moving with military precision. Your Majesty, a woman with silver hair and a face like carved ice stepped forward. She wore a black dress that screamed authority. We received word of the ambush. The medical wing is prepared. Thank you, Isolde. Darius stepped out, turned back, held his hand out to Arya. She took it because she didn't know what else to do. The silver-haired woman's eyes locked on their joined hands. Her expression didn't change, but something flickered in her gaze. Calculation. This is Arya Winters, Darius said. She saved my life and the lives of my vanguard. She is to be treated as the most honored guest this citadel has ever housed. Is that clear? Perfectly, Your Majesty. Good, prepare the east wing. I want her in the rooms closest to mine. Now Isolde's eyebrows did rise, just slightly. The east wing is reserved for... I know what it's reserved for. Darius's voice went cold. Do it. Of course, Your Majesty. Arya wanted to argue, wanted to say she didn't need special rooms or honored guest treatment, but she was too overwhelmed. The citadel was enormous, hallways wider than her entire cabin, ceilings so high her neck hurt looking up, marble floors, gold accents, tapestries that looked older than countries, and people, servants, guards, officials, all of them staring at her as Darius walked past, still holding her hand. She heard the whispers. Is that her, the Omega who saved the king? She looked so ordinary. Did you see her clothes? Arya looked down at herself. Threadbare jeans, a coat held together by prayers, boots with holes. She looked like exactly what she was, a nobody. Ignore them, Darius murmured. They don't matter. They're right, though. I don't belong here. Darius stopped walking, turned to face her fully. You belong wherever I say you belong. And right now, that's here, with me. Understood. His golden eyes pinned her in place. Arya nodded. Good, now come. Dr. Elias is waiting. The medical wing was less intimidating. Clean, quiet. A man with wire-rimmed glasses and kind eyes stood waiting. Your Majesty, I'm glad you're safe. He turned to Arya. And you must be Arya. I'm Dr. Elias. I'd like to examine you if that's all right. I'm fine. Humor me. It wasn't a request. Darius squeezed her hand once, then let go. I have to meet with the council. They'll want a report on the ambush. Isolde will see to anything you need. Wait, Arya started, but he was already gone. The silver-haired woman materialized at her elbow. This way, child. Dr. Elias was thorough. He checked her hands first, cleaned and bandaged the blisters, gave her something for the pain. Then the rest, weight, height, heart rate, blood pressure. He didn't speak much, just made notes on a tablet. His frown grew deeper with each measurement. Finally, he sat back. When was the last time you had a proper meal? Arya thought about it. Define proper. More than canned beans. I don't remember. Dr. Elias removed his glasses, cleaned them, put them back on. You're malnourished, he said gently. Severely. Your body is in survival mode. You have old fractures that healed poorly, vitamin deficiencies, stress markers that are off the charts. I survived. You shouldn't have had to. The anger in his voice surprised her. You're 22 years old. You should be healthy, thriving. He gestured at her thin frame. We're going to fix this, Dr. Elias said. I'm putting you on a meal plan. High protein, lots of vitamins. The palace kitchens will prepare everything. And you need rest. Real rest. When was the last time you slept through the night without worrying about freezing to death? Arya's throat closed. She couldn't remember that either. I'll leave you with Isolde, Dr. Elias said, but I'll be checking in daily. If you need anything medical or otherwise, you send for me. Understood? Why are you all being so nice to me? The doctor smiled. Because you deserve it. After he left, Isolde led Arya deeper into the east wing. The room they stopped at wasn't a room. It was a suite, bedroom bigger than her cabin, a bathroom with a tub that could fit 4 people, a sitting area, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. This is too much, Arya whispered. This is the smallest guest suite we have, Isolde said dryly. The king wanted to give you the royal apartments. I talked him down. She walked to a massive wardrobe, opened it. It was full of clothes. Not just clothes, beautiful clothes, soft sweaters, silk blouses, cashmere, velvet, every color imaginable. These are for you. I can't accept. You can and you will. Your old clothes have been burned per His Majesty's orders. He burned my clothes. He was quite insistent. Arya didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Isolde's expression softened slightly. Come, child, let's get you cleaned up. You'll feel better after a bath. The bath was heaven. Hot water, real soap that smelled like roses, shampoo, conditioner. Things Arya hadn't had in months. Isolde helped her wash her hair. Gentle, patient, like she'd done this before. How long have you worked here? Arya asked. 40 years. I was here when Darius was born. Born? How old is he? 206 last I checked. Give or take a decade. Arya's eyes went wide. 200. Shifter royalty ages slowly. He'll live another 500 years easily. Isolde worked conditioner through Arya's tangled hair. He was a wild child, drove his mother to distraction, always getting into fights, challenging wolves twice his age. What happened to his mother? Isolde's hands paused. She died, in the war with the Northern Alliance, 50 years ago. I'm sorry. So is he. He doesn't talk about it, but I see it, the way he carries that grief. She resumed combing. You're good for him. I barely know him. He looks at you like you hung the moon. I've known that boy his entire life. I've never seen him look at anyone that way. Arya's heart did something complicated in her chest. Now, Isolde said briskly, let's get you dressed. Dinner is in an hour. The dress Isolde chose was midnight blue silk. Simple, elegant. It fell to Arya's ankles and made her pale eyes look almost luminous. When Arya looked in the mirror, she didn't recognize herself. The girl staring back wasn't a banished Omega. She looked like someone important. Beautiful, Isolde murmured. Though you were beautiful before, the dress just helps you see it. A knock at the door interrupted them. Rowan stood in the hallway. He'd cleaned up too. Dress uniform, his blonde hair slicked back. His Majesty requests your presence at dinner. I don't know how to eat with a king, Arya said. Rowan grinned. Neither does he most of the time. He once ate an entire roast chicken with his hands during a state dinner. Just ripped into it. The visiting diplomats were horrified. Despite herself, Arya laughed. Come on. Rowan offered his arm. I'll walk you down. Fair warning, though. The council is dining with you tonight. They're going to ask questions. What kind of questions? Invasive ones. Just remember, you don't have to answer anything you don't want to. You're the king's guest. That puts you above them in rank. Arya's stomach twisted. She didn't want to be above anyone in rank. She just wanted to go back to her cabin. But the cabin was gone, burned clothes, a new life. Ready or not, the dining hall was massive. A table that could seat 50, crystal chandeliers, walls lined with portraits of past kings and queens. And at the head of the table, Darius. He'd changed too. Black suit, hair still damp. He looked every inch the king, until he saw Arya. Then his expression transformed. The cold authority melted. His eyes went soft. He stood, pulled out the chair next to him. You look breathtaking, he said quietly. Arya sat, tried to remember how to breathe. Around the table, 5 other people sat. Older, distinguished. 3 men, 2 women. They all watched her with varying degrees of curiosity and suspicion. Arya, Darius said, this is my council. They advise me on matters of state. Council, this is Arya Winters. Your Majesty, one of the men said. Sire? He had a silver beard, sharp eyes. We're grateful to Miss Winters for her timely intervention. However, there are questions that must be addressed, such as her status. She claims to be a banished Omega from Frost Hollow Pack. She doesn't claim. She is. Banished wolves are rogues. Rogues are not permitted in the Citadel without extensive background checks, and She's not a rogue, Darius interrupted. His voice went cold. She's under my protection. That supersedes any law you want to quote. The councilman's jaw tightened. Your Majesty, with respect. I don't recall asking for respect. I recall giving you a fact. Arya Winters is my guest. She will be treated accordingly. If anyone has a problem with that, they can leave. Silence. The councilwoman on the left cleared her throat. Your Majesty, perhaps we could discuss this after dinner. No need to make our guest uncomfortable. Wise, Darius said. Dinner was served. Arya had never seen so much food. Roasted meat, vegetables she didn't recognize, bread that steamed when broken open, soups, salads, desserts. She took tiny portions. Couldn't help it. 3 months of rationing had trained her stomach to expect less. Eat, Darius murmured beside her. You're safe here. There's always more. It's too much. It's not enough. His hand found hers under the table, squeezed gently. Dr. Elias is worried. So am I. I'm fine. You're not, but you will be. The council made small talk. Politics, territory disputes, things Arya didn't understand. She was starting to relax when the doors burst open. A guard stumbled in. Blood on his uniform. Your Majesty, the East Wing, there's been... He didn't finish. Behind him, a figure in black moved. Fast. Too fast. Arya didn't have time to scream. The assassin had a blade. Silver. Curved. Aimed right at her heart. Darius moved faster. He shifted mid-motion. Not fully, just enough. His arm became something between human and wolf. Fur. Claws. He caught the blade bare-handed. Blood sprayed. The assassin jerked back. Tried to run. Rowan was already there. He grabbed the attacker from behind, slammed them to the marble floor. The council erupted. Shouting. Panic. Darius didn't let go of Arya's hand. Get her out of here, he barked at Isolde. Now! I'm not leaving you, Arya started. Go! It wasn't a request. It was a command, and it came from the king. Isolde dragged Arya from the room. Behind them, Arya heard the sounds of a struggle, shouting, something breaking. What's happening? Arya gasped as they ran down the hallway. Someone wants you dead, child. Isolde's face was grim, and they just made a very fatal mistake. They locked Arya in her suite. Guards posted outside. 4 of them, heavily armed. Arya paced. She couldn't sit still. Couldn't stop seeing that blade. Aimed at her. Someone wanted her dead. Why, she was nobody. Nothing. Just an Omega who'd been in the wrong place at the right time. An hour passed, then the door opened. Darius stepped in. He cleaned the blood off his hand, but she could see the bandage, white against his dark skin. You're hurt, Arya said. I'm fine. You caught a blade for me. I'd catch 1,000 blades for you. He closed the door, leaned against it. He looked tired, older than his years. The assassin is dead. Dead. Rowan didn't give him a choice. He fought back. It ended badly. Who was he? Northern Alliance. We found the tattoo, but there's more. Darius's jaw clenched. He smelled like Frost Hollow. Your old pack. Arya's blood went cold. Garrett sent him. We don't know, not yet, but someone from Frost Hollow is working with the Northern Alliance, and they knew you were here. This is my fault. I brought danger. Stop. Darius crossed the room, took her face in his hands. This is not your fault. You saved my life. Someone wants to punish you for that. That's on them, not you. Maybe I should leave. You're not going anywhere. People are trying to kill me. Then I'll kill them first. His eyes blazed. You're under my protection, Arya. That means something. It means I will burn this entire citadel to the ground before I let anyone hurt you. Why? The question burst out of her. Why do you care so much? You don't know me. You're my mate. The words hung in the air. Arya's mind went blank. I'm your what? Darius let out a slow breath. Mate, the bond. You felt it, didn't you, when we touched? The pull. She had. God help her, she had. I don't understand. Wolves mate for life. When you find your true mate, you know. You feel it. A connection that goes soul deep. He searched her eyes. I felt it the moment I woke up in that cabin. The moment I saw you. That's impossible. I'm wolfless. I can't have a mate bond. And yet here we are. Arya stepped back. Her hands shook. No, this is too much. I can't. I'm not asking you to accept it. Not yet. I'm just telling you the truth. Darius's voice gentled. You're my mate, and that means I will protect you with everything I have, whether you want me to or not. That's not fair. Life rarely is. A knock at the door interrupted them. Rowan stepped in. His expression was grave. Your Majesty, we have a problem. Another one. Garrett Stone has arrived. He's downstairs, demanding an audience. Arya's heart stopped. Darius's eyes went cold, deadly. Is he now? He has 20 warriors with him. Says he's here to claim what's his. He has nothing that's his in this citadel. He says otherwise. Claims Arya is still bound to Frost Hollow by pack law. That you're harboring stolen property. Arya felt sick. Property. That's all she'd ever been to them. Get the council, Darius said. His voice was arctic. Summon every high alpha within 100 miles. We're doing this publicly, and send word to the throne room. I want it prepared for a trial. A trial, Your Majesty, Darius smiled. It was the same terrifying smile he'd given on the cabin porch. Garrett Stone wants to claim ownership of my mate. I'm going to give him the opportunity to try him. He turned to Arya. Tomorrow morning, the throne room. You're going to face him, and you're going to show him exactly what he threw away. Arya didn't sleep that night. How could she? Tomorrow she'd face the man who'd thrown her away. The pack that had called her worthless. And she'd do it in front of the most powerful wolves on the continent. She sat by the window watching the city lights, trying to process everything. Mate bond, assassination attempts. A king who looked at her like she mattered. It was too much. A soft knock made her jump. It's me. Isolde's voice came through the door. May I come in? It's your citadel. It's your room. The older woman entered carrying a tea tray. She set it down and poured 2 cups. Chamomile, she said. For nerves. I don't think tea is going to fix this. Perhaps not, but it won't make it worse. Isolde settled into the chair across from her. You're afraid. It wasn't a question. I'm terrified, Arya admitted. Garrett destroyed me once. What if he does it again? He won't. How can you be sure? Because you're not alone anymore. Isolde sipped her tea. When Garrett banished you, you had no one. No pack, no power, no voice. Tomorrow you'll have all 3. I don't have power. You saved the king's life. That gives you more power than you realize. The older woman's eyes were sharp. Garrett is walking into a trap. He just doesn't know it yet. What do you mean? Darius has been planning this since the moment Rowan told him Garrett was connected to the Northern Alliance. This isn't just about you, child. This is about sending a message. The king doesn't forget, and he doesn't forgive. Arya wrapped her hands around the warm cup. I don't want revenge. What do you want? The question caught her off guard. What did she want? I want, she said slowly, to not be afraid anymore. I want to stop feeling like I have to apologize for existing. I want, her voice broke. I want to belong somewhere. Isolde reached across and squeezed her hand. You do belong. Here. With us. You just haven't realized it yet. How can you say that? You don't know me. I know you saved 11 lives when you could barely save your own. I know you stood up to an enforcer twice your size. I know Darius hasn't smiled like he did tonight in 50 years. Isolde's expression softened. I know enough, Arya Winters. They sat in comfortable silence drinking tea. Finally, Isolde stood. Get some rest. Tomorrow will be difficult, but you won't face it alone. After she left, Arya tried to sleep. Failed. Instead, she found herself thinking about her mother, Lyra Winters, the woman who died bringing her into the world. Arya knew almost nothing about her. Garrett had forbidden anyone to speak of her. Why, what had her mother been to inspire such silence, the library, Arya thought. Every citadel has a library. Records, she shouldn't. It was the middle of the night. Guards were posted. But Arya had spent 3 months surviving alone. She knew how to be quiet. She slipped out of her room. The guards were there, yes, but they faced outward, watching for threats coming in, not watching for her to leave. She padded down the hallway in bare feet. The citadel was a maze, but she had a good sense of direction. Libraries were usually in older sections. Stone, history. It took 20 minutes, but she found it. Massive, floor-to-ceiling shelves, the smell of old paper and leather, and thankfully empty. Arya searched the record section. Births, deaths, pack registries. There, Frost Hollow pack records, 1990 to 2000. She pulled the heavy book down, flipped through pages, found her birth record. Arya Winters, born October 15th, 1998. Mother Lyra Winters, father unknown. But there was a note in the margin, handwritten, old ink. See White Wolf lineage, restricted access. White Wolf. Arya's hands shook as she searched for the restricted section. It was locked. Of course it was. Looking for something, Arya spun. Dr. Elias stood in the doorway. He wore a robe over pajamas. His glasses were slightly askew. I couldn't sleep, Arya said. Neither could I. Kept thinking about your medical report. Something bothered me. He walked closer. Your bone structure, the density, it's the unusual for an omega, almost like, he trailed off. Like what? Like dormant genetics. He studied her. What were you looking for? Arya hesitated, then held up the birth record. My mother. There's a note about white wolves, restricted access. Dr. Elias went very still. White wolves, he said quietly. I haven't heard that term in decades. What does it mean? He was quiet for a long moment. Then he unlocked the restricted section with a key from his pocket. I'm the Citadel's head physician, he explained. I have access to medical records, including genetic ones. He pulled out a slim volume, leather-bound, ancient. White wolves are a myth, he said. Or so most people think, a bloodline that died out centuries ago. They were healers, warriors, the rarest of the rare. He opened the book to a page with a sketch, a massive white wolf with glowing eyes. Legend says they could heal mortal wounds, that their power came from the moon itself, but they were hunted to near extinction. The last confirmed white wolf died 200 years ago. Why were they hunted? Power, fear, the usual reasons. Dr. Elias looked at her. Your mother was researching this before she died. She believed she carried dormant white wolf genes. Joe, did she? We'll never know. She died before the test could be completed. He closed the book. But if she did, and if you inherited them... I'm wolfless, Arya said. I can't even shift into a regular wolf, let alone a mythical one. Dormant doesn't mean absent. It means asleep. Dr. Elias handed her the book. White wolves don't awaken like regular shifters. They need a catalyst. Extreme emotion, true mate bond, mortal danger. Arya thought about the cabin, the desperation, the impossible task of saving 11 lives. Had she felt something then? A stirring deep inside. Keep the book, Dr. Elias said. Read it, and Arya. Whatever happens tomorrow with Garrett, remember this. Your worth isn't determined by whether you can shift. It's determined by who you are, and you are extraordinary. Arya walked back to her room in a daze. White wolves, her mother, dormant genetics. It was too much to process. But as she climbed into bed, book clutched to her chest, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Maybe she wasn't broken. Maybe she was just sleeping. Morning came too fast. Isolde arrived with breakfast, a dress, the same midnight blue from dinner. His Majesty requests your presence in the throne room in 1 hour. Arya's stomach turned. I don't think I can do this. You can, and you will. Isolde's voice was firm. I've seen a lot in my 40 years here, child. I've seen kings fall, queens rise, wars won and lost. You know what I haven't seen? What? Someone who saved 11 lives out of pure compassion, no reward expected, no recognition sought, just kindness. She touched Arya's cheek. That's power, Arya. More power than Garrett will ever have. The walk to the throne room was silent. Guards flanked her. Rowan walked ahead, Felix behind. Nervous? Felix asked quietly. Terrified. Good, use it. Fear keeps you sharp. The throne room doors were massive, black wood, gold handles. They swung open. The room was packed. Hundreds of wolves, high alphas in formal dress, council members, court officials. And at the far end on a dais raised 5 feet above the floor sat the onyx throne. Darius sat on it. He wore black and gold, a crown of dark metal. He looked every inch the king, powerful, remote, untouchable, until his eyes found Arya. Then the king vanished, and the man who'd held her hand looked back. Bring him in, Darius said. The doors on the opposite side opened. Garrett Stone walked in. He looked older than Arya remembered. Silver hair, hard face. He walked with confidence. 20 warriors at his back. Kieran was there too, arm in a sling. He wouldn't meet Arya's eyes. Your Majesty, Garrett bowed, just enough to be respectful, not enough to show submission. Thank you for seeing me. Alpha Garrett, Darius's voice was flat. You requested this audience. Speak. I'm here about the Omega. Arya Winters. She's Frost Hollow Pack property. Banished, yes, but still bound by our laws. I'm here to reclaim her. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Reclaim, Darius repeated. Interesting word choice. She's ours. You're harboring. I'm harboring nothing. Arya Winters is my guest. Under my protection. If you have a claim, present it. But choose your words carefully, Alpha. I'm not in a forgiving mood. Garrett's jaw tightened. By pack law, a banished member can be reclaimed if they are found within 6 months of banishment. It's been 3. She's still technically Frost Hollow. And you want her back? Yes. Why? The question hung in the air. Garrett faltered. She's pack. We take care of our own. You threw her out to die in the winter, Darius said softly. That's not taking care, that's attempted murder. She was dead weight, wolfless. The word echoed through the chamber. Darius stood, slowly. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. I'm going to give you one chance, the king said. One chance to apologize to the woman who saved my life. The woman you called worthless. The woman who has more courage in her little finger than you have in your entire bloodline. I apologize for nothing. She's standing right here, a voice said, Arya's voice. She stepped forward. Her legs shook, but she held her head high. If you're going to talk about me, Alpha Garrett, at least have the courage to look at me while you do it. Garrett's eyes snapped to her. Surprise flickered across his face. She looked different. Clean, well-fed, dressed like royalty, not the broken Omega he'd thrown away. I saved the king, Arya continued. Her voice was steady. I saved his vanguard. 11 lives. While you were sitting by your fire, I was dragging dying wolves through a blizzard. Uhata, you had no right. I had every right. They were dying. I saved them. That's what decent people do. The crowd was silent. You called me worthless, Arya said. You banished him. You left me to freeze to death. And I survived. Not because of you. Despite you. Garrett's face flushed red. You're still bound to Frost Hollow. The law, Darius interrupted, is about to change. He descended from the dais, walked to Arya, took her hand. Arya Winters saved the king's life. By continental law, that grants her a boon. Any request within reason will be granted. Arya stared at him. What? It's tradition. An old law, but still valid. Darius's eyes never left Garrett's face. So I ask you, Arya, what do you want? Freedom, she almost said. But she had freedom. What she wanted was justice. I want, she said slowly, Garrett Stone stripped of his pack. I want every Omega in Frost Hollow who has been mistreated to be given sanctuary. And I want it known that wolfless doesn't mean worthless. The crowd erupted. Garrett went white. You can't. I can, Darius said, and I will. Garrett Stone, you are hereby stripped of your title as Alpha of Frost Hollow. Your pack is dissolved. Your lands forfeit. You are banished to the Northern Territories. If you're found within 500 miles of this citadel, you will be executed. This is madness. She's just an Omega. She's my mate, Darius roared. The room went silent. She saved my life. She has more worth than you will ever comprehend, and you will address her as queen, or you won't address her at all. Guards moved forward, grabbed Garrett. He struggled. You'll regret this, the Northern Alliance. He stopped. Too late. Darius's eyes went cold. The Northern Alliance. Tell me, Garrett, how do you know about the Northern Alliance attack? Garrett's face drained of color. We heard rumors. Rumors. Or were you there? Darius stepped closer. Funny thing, the assassin who tried to kill Arya last night smelled like Frost Hollow. And the Northern Alliance. How do you explain that? I don't know anything about an assassin, a liar. Rowan stepped forward. He held up a phone. We found encrypted messages between Garrett and Northern Alliance commanders. Plans, coordinates. Garrett's been working with them for months. The crowd erupted again. Treason. They were talking about treason. Garrett lunged, tried to shift. Didn't make it 2 steps. Darius moved faster, grabbed him by the throat, slammed him to the marble floor. You tried to have her killed, Darius said. His voice was death itself. My mate. She's nothing. Darius's hand tightened. Don't kill him. Arya's voice. Quiet, but everyone heard it. Darius looked at her. He tried to kill you. I know, but I'm not like him. She walked forward, looked down at Garrett. I won't become a monster to punish a monster. Exile him. Let him live with what he's done. That's punishment enough. For a long moment, Darius didn't move. Then he released Garrett, stepped back. Take him, he ordered the guards. Northern border. Leave him with nothing. If he survives, he can keep his miserable life. They dragged Garrett away. Kieran stood frozen. Your Majesty, I didn't know about the alliance. I swear. You assaulted the queen, Darius said. You're alive only because she asked me to spare you. Don't make me regret it. Kieran fled. The throne room slowly emptied until only Arya and Darius remained. Queen, Arya said, if you'll have me. You didn't ask. I'm asking now. Darius took both her hands. I know this is fast. I know you barely know me. But the mate bond doesn't lie, Arya. You're mine. and I'm yours, if you'll accept me. Arya looked at the man who'd caught a blade for her, who'd destroyed her tormentor, who looked at her like she hung the stars. I don't know how to be a queen. Neither did I know how to be a king. We'll figure it out together. Arya took a breath, then nodded. Darius smiled, pulled her close, and kissed her. The moment their lips touched, the world exploded. The kiss started gentle. Darius's lips on hers, soft, asking permission. Then something shifted. A spark, deep in Arya's chest, like lightning striking bone. She gasped against his mouth. The spark became a flame. The flame became an inferno. Heat exploded through her veins. Not the warmth of attraction. This was power, raw, ancient, burning her from the inside out. Arya jerked back, clutched her chest. What? She gasped. What's happening? Darius's eyes went wide. He stepped back, nostrils flaring. Your scent, he whispered. It's changing. The heat intensified. Arya's bones began to ache. A deep, rhythmic thrumming that started at the base of her spine and crawled up her vertebrae like fingers of fire. It hurts, she cried out. Don't fight it. Darius moved toward her. Arya, listen to me. This is your wolf. She's waking up. I don't have a wolf. You do. You always have. She was just sleeping. He reached for her. The mate bond. The kiss. It triggered her. Let her come. I can't. Arya fell to her knees. The pain was overwhelming. Her back arched. Something was moving under her skin, shifting, changing. She screamed. The sound started human, ended as a howl. Light exploded from her body, pure white, blinding. Darius threw his arm over his eyes. When he could see again, the woman he'd kissed was gone. In her place stood a wolf, not gray, not brown, not black, white. Pure luminescent white like fresh snow under moonlight. Massive, nearly as large as Darius himself, her fur seemed to glow with its own internal light. And her eyes, silver, like molten mercury, the white wolf of legend. Arya's wolf looked down at her paws. Confusion rippled through the mate bond. What am I? You're beautiful, Darius whispered. The wolf's head snapped up. She could hear him, not just words, thoughts, his awe, his love, his absolute wonder. Mine, his wolf rumbled through the bond. Our mate, our queen. Arya took a tentative step, then another. Her legs felt strange. Powerful. She could feel the marble beneath her paws, could smell everything. The lingering scent of Garrett's fear, the Polish on the throne, Darius's desire. She turned in a circle, caught sight of her reflection in the polished obsidian walls. A monster, beautiful and terrifying. Is this real? It's real. Darius shifted. The black wolf appeared, darker than midnight, gold eyes burning. They circled each other, black and white. Shadow and light, yin and yang. When they touched noses, brushing the bond snapped fully into place. Complete, unbreakable, eternal. Arya shifted back without meaning to. One moment wolf, the next human, naked on the cold marble floor. Darius shifted too, pulled her into his arms. You shifted, he said against her hair. You actually shifted. I don't understand how. The mate bond, it awakened what was dormant. He pulled back to look at her face. Your mother was right. You carry white wolf blood. It just needed a catalyst. My mother, Dr. Elias told me, he found the records. Darius wrapped his cloak around her. Your mother was researching white wolf genetics before she died. She suspected. She was right. Arya's mind reeled. What does this mean? It means, a voice said from the doorway, that you're in grave danger. They turned. Rowan stood there. His face was grim. We need to talk. Now. The war room was deep in the Citadel's heart. Stone walls, a massive table covered in maps, screens showing security feeds. The vanguard was assembled. All 11 warriors, plus Isolde and Dr. Elias. Tell her, Darius ordered. Rowan pulled up a file on the main screen. Photos, documents, intelligence reports. The Northern Alliance isn't just after the king, he said. They're after white wolves, specifically. Arya's stomach dropped. Why? White wolf blood has properties, healing, power enhancement. There are rumors that they've been experimenting, trying to create super soldiers using white wolf DNA. That's impossible. White wolves are extinct. We're extinct, Dr. Elias corrected. Until tonight, when you shifted in front of 200 witnesses. The implications hit Arya like a truck. They'll come for me. Yes, Darius said simply, which is why we're moving up the coronation. What? I was going to wait. Give you time to adjust. But we don't have time. He looked at the vanguard. How long until the Northern Alliance learns what she is? They probably already know, Rowan said. We have a leak. Someone in the Citadel is feeding them information. Silence. You're sure? Darius's voice went cold. Positive. The timing of the attacks, the intel they have, someone here is talking. Then we flush them out. Darius turned to Arya. The coronation will be in 3 days. We'll announce it publicly. Invite every high alpha on the continent. Make it a spectacle. You want to use me as bait, Arya said. I want to force their hand. They'll attack. We'll be ready. And when they come, we'll end this. People could die. People will definitely die if we don't act. Darius took her hands. I won't let them have you. I'll burn the world down first. Arya looked around the room, at the warriors who'd become her family, at Isolde, who'd been a mother, at Dr. Elias, who'd believed in her. Okay, she said, we do it, but on one condition. Name it. I'm not just bait, I fight. Darius's jaw clenched. Arya, I'm a white wolf. Apparently I'm rare and powerful and worth killing for. So I'm going to be worth something. I'm going to protect the people I love, including you. For a long moment, he didn't speak. Then he nodded. Rowan, train her. She has 3 days to learn how to be a warrior. The next 72 hours were brutal. Rowan was a harsh teacher. Again, he barked as Arya hit the training mat for the 20th time. She was in wolf form, faster, stronger, but still learning. You're telegraphing your moves. I can see you coming a mile away. Arya snarled, lunged. Rowan sidestepped, used her momentum against her. She went tumbling. Anger makes you sloppy. Control it. She shifted back, panting, bruised. I'm trying. Try harder. In 3 days, someone's going to try to kill you. They won't pull their punches. Neither will I. They went again and again. By the end of day 1, Arya could barely walk. Isolde was waiting with a hot bath and healing salve. You're doing well, the older woman said as she worked the salve into Arya's shoulders. I'm getting destroyed. You're learning. There's a difference. Isolde's hands were gentle. Rowan's hard on you because he cares. He lost someone dear to him in the Northern Alliance camps, an Omega warrior who tried to infiltrate them. They caught her, tortured her. We got word she didn't survive. Isolde's voice was careful, measured. He won't let that happen to you. None of us will. Arya's throat closed. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be ready. Day 2 was worse. Rowan brought in the other Vanguard members. They attacked in pairs, in groups. You won't face one enemy, Rowan said. You'll face many. Learn to track multiple threats. Arya tried, failed, got back up, tried again. Felix was the one who gave her the breakthrough. Stop thinking, he said during a break. Your human brain is too slow. Let your wolf lead. She knows what to do. Arya closed her eyes, reached for the wolf inside, found her. The next round she didn't think. She just moved. Dodge, counter, strike. She took down 3 warriors before they overwhelmed her. But she'd done it. Better, Rowan said. There might have been pride in his voice. Much better. Day 3 was different. No combat training. Instead, Dr. Elias took over. Your shift triggered something, he explained. White wolves have abilities beyond normal shifters. We need to understand what you can do. He set up a series of tests. Healing was first. He brought in a warrior with a training injury, deep cut on the arm. Try to heal it, Dr. Elias said. I don't know how. Your wolf does. Let her guide you. Arya shifted, approached the injured warrior. He was young, nervous. It's okay, he said. I trust you. She placed her paw on his arm, felt something flow out of her. Warm, bright. The wound closed. Not scarred, not partially healed, completely closed, like it had never been. The warrior stared. How did you white wolf magic, Dr. Elias breathed. The legends were true. They tested other abilities. Enhanced speed, strength, senses that could track a scent for miles, and something else. When Arya howled, the sound carried power. It made other wolves pause, submit. Even the vanguard had to fight the urge to bare their throats. Alpha command, Rowan said, but stronger. You could lead an army with that voice. Arya shifted back. She was exhausted, exhilarated, terrified. Tomorrow, she said, tomorrow I become queen. Tomorrow, Darius said from the doorway, you become legend. The coronation was set for noon. The great courtyard of Nightfall Citadel could hold 5,000. It was packed. High alphas from every territory, their entourages, dignitaries, press. Every major pack on the continent had sent representatives. Arya stood in her preparation chamber staring at herself in the mirror. The dress was white. Of course it was white, silk and lace, a train that stretched 20 feet. Diamonds at her throat and wrists. She looked like a fairy tale, felt like she was walking to her execution. Breathe, Isolde said. She was adjusting the crown. Delicate, white gold and moonstone. You look like a queen. I feel like a fraud. Every queen feels that way at first. Isolde stepped back. But you'll grow into it, just like you grew into your wolf. A knock at the door. Felix entered. He looked uncomfortable in formal dress. It's time, Your Majesty. Your Majesty. Arya wasn't sure she'd ever get used to that. The walk to the courtyard was a blur. Corridors lined with guards. Faces she didn't recognize. Everyone bowing as she passed. Then she stepped into the sunlight. 5,000 wolves stood as one. The noise was deafening. At the far end of the courtyard on a raised platform, Darius waited. He wore black and gold, the crown of the Alphaking. He looked devastating. When he saw her, his expression transformed. Love, pride, possessiveness. Mine, she felt through the bond. Always mine. Arya walked the long aisle, each step measured, graceful, like Isolde had taught her. She was halfway there when she felt it. Wrong, something was wrong. Her wolf stirred, alert, danger. Arya's eyes scanned the crowd, thousands of faces. Which one there? Third row, left side, a man in servant's livery, but his scent was off, nervous, aggressive, and his hand was moving toward his jacket. Down, Arya screamed. She shifted mid-stride, white wolf exploding from silk and lace. The man drew a gun, not regular bullets, wolfsbane rounds. He fired. Arya moved faster. The bullet meant for Darius hit her shoulder instead. Fire, poison, pain. She crashed into the would-be assassin. Her jaws closed around his wrist. Bones crunched. The gun clattered to the ground. Then chaos erupted. From every corner of the courtyard, attackers emerged. 50, 100, all armed, Northern Alliance. It was a massacre. Or it should have been. But Darius had been ready. The vanguard moved as one. Rowan, Felix, all 11 warriors. They tore into the attackers like wolves among sheep. The courtyard became a battlefield. Arya, wounded, tried to shift back. Couldn't. The wolfsbane was working, locking her in wolf form, draining her strength. A hand grabbed her scruff. Got you. The voice was familiar. Cold. Arya twisted, saw his face. Felix. No. I'm sorry, he said. His eyes were dead. They have my daughter. I have to. Rowan hit him like a freight train. The two warriors went down fighting, former brothers, now enemies. Arya stumbled. The poison was spreading. Her vision grayed. She saw Darius fighting 3 attackers at once. Saw Isolde defending a group of civilians. Saw the courtyard running red. Then she saw him, walking through the carnage like death itself. Tall, scarred, eyes like ice. He wore the insignia of the Northern Alliance, but more, a commander's badge. And when he spoke, his voice carried. Stop! The fighting paused. The man looked at Darius. Alphaking, we meet at last. Theron, Darius snarled. I should have known. My brother sends his regards. Theron smiled. Oh, wait, you exiled him, left him to freeze. How unfortunate. Your brother, Garrett Stone, my younger brother, the Alpha you destroyed. Theron's eyes found Arya. And there she is, the white wolf, rarer than diamonds, more valuable than kingdoms. He raised his hand, 20 guns aimed at Arya. Here's how this works, Theron said. You let me take the wolf or everyone in this courtyard dies, including her. Darius's eyes blazed. I'll kill you. Maybe, but not before I kill her first. Theron pulled out a knife, silver, curved. What's it going to be, king your pride or your mate? Arya tried to stand, fell. The wolfsbane had her. Through the bonds, she felt Darius's anguish, his rage, his impossible choice. I'm sorry, she sent. I'm so sorry. Don't, he sent back. Don't you dare give up. 10 seconds, Theron said. Then I start shooting civilians. Wait, Darius stepped forward, hands raised. Wait, don't hurt anyone. You want me to kneel. I want you to watch. Theron gestured. His men moved toward Arya. No, not like this. Arya closed her eyes, reached deep past the pain, past the poison, found her wolf, found the power, doctor. Elias had said white wolves were healers. What if that worked both ways? What if she could heal herself? Arya focused, pulled on that warm, bright power, directed it inward. The poison fought back, burned, tried to spread. She burned hotter. The wolfsbane began to break down, cell by cell, drop by drop. Theron's men were 5 feet away, 4 feet, 3. I've got her, one of them said. Reached for her, Arya's eyes snapped open, silver, blazing. She rose. The transformation was instant, wolf to human in a heartbeat, naked, glowing with power. Wrong move, she said. Then she screamed. Not a human scream, a howl, a command. The voice of the Alpha's Alpha. Every wolf in the courtyard, enemy and ally alike, dropped to their knees, heads bowed, necks exposed. Except Darius. He stood tall, smiled. That's my queen. Arya shifted again, but not fully. She'd seen Darius do this. The hybrid form, half human, half wolf. She became something in between. Taller, stronger, fur and skin, claws and hands, silver eyes blazing. Theron's men tried to fight. She tore through them like paper, moved faster than thought. Struck with precision, Rowan had drilled into her. In 30 seconds, 20 attackers were down. Theron stumbled back. Impossible, you were poisoned. You should be dead. Arya's voice was layered, human and wolf. I'm done being what I should be, she advanced. Theron threw the knife. Arya caught it, bare-handed. It cut her palm. She didn't flinch. That was Garrett's mistake, she said. Thinking weak meant helpless. You made the same one. She threw the knife back. It buried itself in Theron's shoulder. He screamed, That's for every Omega you ever hurt. She stalked forward, grabbed him by the throat. I should kill you, she said. The old Arya would have. The broken Omega who had nothing to lose. She lifted him off the ground, one-handed. But I'm not her anymore. She threw him at Darius's feet. He's yours, she said. Judgment is the king's right. Darius looked at her, love and awe warring in his expression. Then he looked at Theron. Rowan Brum, he said quietly. Take him to the dungeons. Maximum security. He'll stand trial for war crimes. As guards dragged Theron away, Darius turned to Felix. The warrior was on his knees, Rowan's claws at his throat. My daughter, Felix choked out. Please, they have my daughter. Yanni, where? Darius demanded. Northern compound, 70 miles north, please. She's only 3. Darius looked at Rowan, a silent question. The Gamma's jaw worked. Finally, he nodded. Stand down, Darius ordered. We'll get her. He turned to the vanguard. Mount up, we ride in 10 minutes. Wait, Arya said. Let me come. You're wounded. You need to rest. I'm a healer. She held up her hand. The knife wound was already closing. I can help. And if there are other prisoners, other Omegas, they'll trust me more than they'll trust a group of Alpha warriors. Darius hesitated, then nodded. Suit up. We leave in 10. The northern compound was a fortress. Concrete walls, guard towers, spotlights that turned night into day. Arya crouched in the tree line with the vanguard. She wore tactical gear now. Black, lightweight, built for movement. 3 guards at the main gate, Rowan whispered. 2 on the east wall. Unknown numbers inside. We go quiet, Darius said. In and out, get the girl and anyone else we find, minimal casualties. And if they fight, Felix asked. His voice was raw. Then we fight back. They move like shadows. Arya had never felt anything like this. The pack, hunt, moving as one. 11 warriors and her perfectly synchronized. Rowan took out the first guard. Silent, efficient. Felix the second. They slipped through the compound like ghosts. Found the holding cells in the basement. Arya's heart broke. 20 cells, each one holding a prisoner. Most were Omegas, women, children, some so young they could barely walk. Oh God, she whispered. Get them out, Darius ordered. All of them. Arya ran to the first cell, a little girl with sandy hair, Felix's daughter. Sweetie, Arya said gently, I'm here to take you to your daddy. The girl looked up, tear-stained face. Daddy, he's right here. Felix pushed past, scooped his daughter into his arms, sobbed into her hair. Arya moved to the next cell, and the next. In the last one, she found someone unexpected. A woman, older, silver hair, scars covering her arms, but alive, breathing. Who are you? Arya asked. The woman looked up, her eyes widened. White Wolf, she breathed. The legend said you'd come. What's your name? Isla. I am an Omega warrior. They caught me 2 years ago. Arya's breath caught. Rowan's lost friend. Not dead. Captured. Rowaners, she called. Rowan, get down here. The Gamma appeared, saw the woman, went white. Isla. Hello, Rowan. They collided, holding each other, both crying. Arya turned away, gave them privacy, helped the other prisoners up the stairs. They just reached the ground floor when alarms blared. "They know we're here," Rowan shouted. "Move!" The vanguard formed a protective circle around the prisoners. Arya in the center, Northern Alliance soldiers poured in. The battle was fierce, brutal. But this time Arya wasn't bait. She was a warrior. She fought in hybrid form, faster than the soldiers could track, stronger than they could handle. When one aimed a gun at a child, she moved, ripping the gun from his hands. Threw him into a wall hard enough to crack concrete. "Touch them," she snarled, "and lose your hands." They made it out, all of them, 23 prisoners, 11 warriors, no casualties. By the time they reached the tree line, the compound was in flames behind them. "Home," Darius said. "We're going home." The coronation was rescheduled. 1 week later, this time there were no attacks, just joy. Arya walked the aisle again, white dress, crown of moonstone, but this time she wasn't afraid. She knew who she was. Omega, White Wolf, Queen, Healer, Warrior, Mate. When Darius placed the crown on her head, the crowd erupted. Their kiss sealed the bond, made permanent what had been written in the stars. Winter 2025. The cabin in the mountains was warm, fire crackling in the restored stove, new windows keeping out the cold, but the heart of it remained, the place where everything changed. Arya sat on the floor laughing as two white wolf pups tumbled over each other. A boy and a girl, 3 years old, already showing signs of their mother's power, already legends in the making. "Careful," she warned as they crashed into the furniture. "Don't break anything." They ignored her, as children do. Darius emerged from the bedroom. He'd aged not at all, would probably look the same in 500 years. But his eyes were different, softer, full of love. "They're terrors," he said fondly. "They're perfect." He sat beside her, pulled her close. Outside, Rowan and Isla walked past the window, holding hands, finally together after years apart. Felix was in the Citadel with his daughter, now 6, healthy, happy, safe. The Omega Protection Act had passed 2 years ago. Shelters in every territory, laws protecting the vulnerable, punishment for abuse. Frost Hollow Pack had been reformed. New Alpha, new laws. Omegas were treated as equals. And Garrett had survived his exile. Barely. He'd sent a letter 6 months ago, 3 pages of apology, asking forgiveness. Arya had written back. "Not yet, but someday." Because that's what white wolves did. They healed. "We should tell them," Darius said. "The story, how we met." "They're too young." "They're never too young for the truth." Arya looked at her children, at the pups who would one day lead kingdoms. "Okay," she said, but the short version. She called them over. They came, tumbling into her lap. "Once upon a time," Arya began, "there was an Omega who everyone said was worthless." "That's you, Mama," the girl said. "That's me. But you're a queen." "I wasn't always. Once I was just a girl, alone in a cabin, in a blizzard." "And then?" the boy asked. "And then I found 11 dying wolves in the snow. I saved them. All 11. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. Even though they were strangers. Especially because they were strangers." The twins processed this. "And one of them was Papa," the girl said. "The biggest one, the scariest one, the one I should have left behind." Arya smiled at Darius. "But I didn't. I saved him. And he saved me right back." "What did he save you from? Loneliness?" Arya said. "Fear, the belief that I was worthless." "You're not worthless," the boy said fiercely. "You're the white wolf. I'm your mama. That's worth more than any title." Darius kissed her temple. Outside, snow began to fall. Inside, a family sat warm and safe and loved. The Omega who saved 11 kings had found what she was always searching for. Not power, not revenge, not even a crown, just home. And in the end, that was the greatest magic of all.